Hello everyone, I'm here to show you a really quick tutorial today, and that is based on the Making Backpack by Noodlehead. So this is a really nice pattern. It comes in a mini version as well. This is the regular size. I had a little trouble though. When I say my husband likes to point flaws out with everything I make. He means it well, I promise. But when this is made, what normally happens is the strap bends forward like this. So you're walking around with it on your back and it's sticking out like that. And he says, well, someone could just grab that. So I have a little tutorial today in case you feel the same way. And that is a little handle connector, which is detachable. So you can just stick it in the front pocket if you don't want to use it. And if you do want to use it, all you have to do is clip it around those handles. I chose not to sew it directly to one of the handles just because, again, that would be something else that's going to be flapping around if you choose not to use it. So this is what it looks like. I'll just give you a close-up right now. There we go. And now I'm going to show you how to make one yourself. Okay, so other backpacks might be different because they might have different handle sizes, and you might even find a difference within the Making Backpack itself if you haven't sewn the straps to that half width that you have here. So I did the optional step. You might not have, so you might just want to measure and make sure that the measurements that I give you will actually work for your bag. But for mine, the measurements I have gone with are 1.5 inches wide by 2 3/4 inches long. And you'll need 2 pieces of vinyl or leather cut that size. If you are using leather though, it's often thicker and you might only need to cut one of those. Okay, so we're cutting those 2 pieces of vinyl in a colour of your choice. There's 1.5 inches wide and 2 3/4 inches long. Like that, and we need 2 of those. Alright, now you've got your 2 pieces of vinyl, you're going to stick them together. You can use glue if you wish, but I like to use a bit of tape on the edges to keep those 2 pieces together. So this is Wonder Tape. Comes in a packet like this. There are other brands, but it's always called Wonder Tape, interestingly enough. So I like to just take a little piece of that and snip it. And I'll show you what I do with that. So I kind of avoid these corners because we're going to round those corners off, but I put a bit here, here, here and here. So there's some shenanigans going on behind me, but hopefully they'll go upstairs. That's what my Wonder Tape looks like. I've avoided those corners. I'm going to peel the backing off and then just stick the other piece of vinyl to it, wrong sides together. So now my 2 pieces of vinyl are back to back. We're going to mark some rounded corners on that. And all I use to do that is a bobbin from my machine, and I will show you a close-up of what I'm doing. Alright, so I don't get fancy which pen I'm using. I just kind of line the bobbin up to the corner so that you have it touching the edges at the top and the bottom. And then I just draw around. So I'm just going to adjust mine slightly there, make sure I'm happy with it. And draw around. Try not to get my hand in the way. Like that. And then we do that for all 4 corners. Okay, so I've drawn around all 4 of those corners now. Just going to get my small scissors and I'm going to cut along those lines that I've drawn, maybe just slightly within them so you don't see any of the ink. And if you have a little bit of vinyl that's poking out from the back, you can kind of trim that down as well because you want the edges to be nice and flush. And then once you've done that, if you want to, if you have leather paint, you could paint the edges if you wanted. I'm not going to do that on mine. I'm just going to keep it the original colour. Right, so there's my rounded rectangle. Next you're going to take it to your sewing machine and you're going to put a thread in the top and the bobbin that matches the vinyl, or unless you want a contrasting stitch, because that's fine too. And then this is what it looks like when you've done that. So this is sewn around at a 1/8 of an inch seam allowance all the way around the inside. I used a regular length stitch. You can use a longer one if you want. I wanted to get close to that edge though, because that Wonder Tape won't hold forever. It's not a permanent solution like maybe some glues are. And this is probably the stage where you would choose to paint the edges if you wanted to. But now we need to add some snaps. The snaps I'm using are about 1/2 inch. So I use the metal snaps. They look like this. Mine come in a little kit. I think I got mine from Amazon at some point, and I've gone through quite a few of them. So in terms of tools, it comes with tools if you buy one of these kits. Often they come in different colours as well, snaps, so that you don't have to just have the one colour. Mine come in antique, brass. They come in like a bright nickel and also an antique gunmetal kind of colour. And different sizes as well, but these are the smaller ones are kind of good for this project. I wouldn't go any bigger than 1/2 inch. The back of the socket is kind of the nice looking finished side. Then you have a socket piece that is like a little donut and it's quite deep. That will snap onto there eventually. And then you have a stud, and then you also have the backing for the stud as well, and they kind of look on the reverse a bit like you see on jeans hardware. And then in terms of tools, you're going to need some kind of mallet. I don't like to work on a table. I actually go into my laundry room back there and work on the floor because it's got a concrete floor underneath the lino. Your kit will come with like a little two-sided anvil, so you've got a round side for when you're putting the more decorative side against it, so you don't end up with dents in there. And then you also have a side that's got a kind of nipple in the middle there, and that will help support it when you're trying to push pieces together that don't have a flat edge. Then you'll also have two setting tools. You'll have one that's kind of pointy, and that will go inside the socket to help bend the bit of metal that holds it together in place. And then you'll also have this one, which is like the opposite. It's like a female version, and that will go over the top of the stud so that you're not damaging the stud connector when you hit it with the mallet. One more thing that you're going to need, you will need some kind of metal punch. I have tried those ones that come with the little dial and you squeeze it. I don't have a lot of luck with that, so I tend to use this and a scrap of wood to put behind it so that I'm not damaging any surfaces when I use it. Okay, so we've got all of our tools, so we're going to go over to my laundry room floor and set these snaps. Okay, so we're on the floor of the laundry room. I do have an example of what not to do here. So I'd originally put the snaps in so that the two contact points are on the same side, but that means that it would fold like this. And I want more of a wrap look rather than like a taco look. We're going to take our sewn rectangle and we need to punch it first. I've got my little block of wood underneath. I've got my punch, which is getting a little bit blunt now, I've got to say. And I'm going to put it around the centre edge. So around here, centered on the bottom edge, and I'm going to get not right on top of the stitches. We're going to go about 1/8 of an inch away from the stitches. Position the punch in place. Get your mallet and give it a whack with the mallet. As you can see, this is why you want wood underneath, because it does leave indentations. I'm going to have to do that again because it hasn't quite gone all the way through because my punch is a bit blunt. I can see the indentation on the reverse though, so I'm going to punch it from the back as well. And it might take a couple of attempts depending on how good your tools are. Obviously mine are in need of an upgrade. And then we're going to do the same thing but at the other end. Alright, that one worked a lot nicer that time. So now we've got those in place, we're ready to actually set the snaps. So I'm going to use the rounded side of the anvil first, so that's face up, and I am going to grab the this side, so this kind of decorative side, stick that through one of the holes. That's the side that will go against the anvil, and then the socket piece will go over the top, and mine have these little stars on it, and those are the ones that go facing upwards. So we stick that on there, and then the tool we need to set that needs to go into the hole of the socket there, because I'll try and show you it a little bit closer. It's got, oops, this is why I'm going to struggle a little bit. It's got like a little circle in there which need pushing down. So we're going to set that little tool inside the hole, grab our mallet again, and we're going to tap it a few times. You know you've got it good when it's kind of stuck in there. Alright, so that's one side attached. Now we need to do the other side, and this is where we need to make sure that we don't do it wrong. So the next stud, we need this piece, so that's like the small nipple, to be on the same side as the flat disc that we have. So what we're going to do is take the longer nipple, I don't know what else to call these to be honest, we're going to stick that through the back like this, so that pokes through, so it looks like that on the reverse. And then we're going to take this little kind of mushroomy thing, stick it over the top. That kind of snaps in place for me, which is kind of nice. We're going to flip the anvil so that we have that side facing up, and that means that this little hole in the back here can rest nicely on this little prong here in the middle. Stick that on there, and then we need our other setting tool, which is this one. So it's got that little hole in the middle, that's so it can go over the top of that mushroomy bit, and we can protect that, and then we just need to hit it a few times with the mallet. And then we have it, so that when you fold it, it has to kind of wrap slightly, and it'll snap, and that's your little wrap. So now we have this piece, all you have to do is attach it to the handle. So here's another one of my bags that doesn't have one. You just literally put it underneath the two straps and then just wrap it round. I'm kind of making it look awkward because I'm trying to make it visible on the camera, but it is actually a lot easier than that. And because of the size that we cut it, it's not as likely to slide down. It will do a bit if you actually pull it, but it's kind of designed to pretty snug there around the top where it's where the straps are a little bit thinner. So I hope that was helpful if you're also making a making backpack by Noodlehead. I also have another tutorial coming up on how I make these little dangly zipper pulls using a drinking straw and a bamboo skewer. So if you're interested in that, subscribe to my channel. It will be uploaded as a short very, very soon.